In XPath, absolute XPath and partial XPath.
Right.
Location of elements in XPath.
We learned how to use properties of the element in XPath. Any property of the element we can use in XPath, including ID and name. I repeat, including ID and name. They have given one format called syntax, 2 forward slashes, either star or tag name. Inside the square brackets, we can use any property of the element to identify the element, including ID and name. ID property also we can use in XPath. Name property also we can use in XPath. But if you want to use ID or name, no need to go for XPath. We have ready-made locators by the ID and by the name. Then why to create XPath expression using ID and name? Rather than creating a little complex expression, better to go with by ID, by name if really an element has ID or name property. Any other property generally we use in XPath, we can also use multiple properties in XPath. If element, some property starting value is constant, remaining value dynamically changing, we can go for starts with one of the XPath function. Somewhere some value is constant, remaining value dynamically changing, then we go for contains function. And element, no properties are available, but available properties not helping us to find out the element. Alternatively, we can go for location of the element, absolute location, and also we can use partial location. This is the last topic we have discussed. Now let me demonstrate. I hope I given the syntax also in the diagram. Let us see one or two scenarios where to use this absolute XPath and how to use partial XPath of the element. This code invoking a application Snapdeal. Okay. I'm showing you the properties of the element home and kitchen. You see the properties and answer me which property you want me to consider to identify the element home and kitchen. Span element, there is a class property, there is a style property, something like this. So which property you want me to use to identify this element? The span element. We don't have ID, we don't have name. Class property. What is the class property value here? Cat text. Woman's fashion. What is the class property? Cat text. Men's fashion. If I use class property to identify the home and kitchen, If I consider class property to identify the element home and kitchen, you answer me now what happens. The first element, men's fashion, will be click.
Yes, sir.
If there are multiple elements matching the description properties, we know Selenium will recognize the first element. Let us run this code. It's clicking on men's fashion. This is not our requirement. Our requirement, I want to make Selenium to identify or perform click action on a home and kitchen. Style property display. Actually, by seeing the names, we can understand they are common values. Display. Here also the style property display. I cannot use it. So here, some properties are available, but not useful to identify the element. I want to go for the location of the element. The existing property is not helping Selenium to recognize an element. So better you leave all the properties, go for the location of the element to identify it. How to get the location of this element? You right click on the HTML details about the element. Here, not in the application level. Right click on the HTML details about the element. Copy. Full XPath, nothing but absolute XPath. Absolute full same meaning, right? Full XPath, nothing but absolute XPath. This utility will scan the location of the element from the beginning of the web page. Whatever I copied, full XPath I pasted here. This is the absolute location of that element. From the beginning of the web page till end of the child element, second span element in the list 3. Span 1, span 2, second span element inside the list 3. Finally, we are getting the location of the element here. Manually finding the location is impractical from the HTML page. We can make use of, what do you mean by manually? You understand page and getting the location is impossible. We can make use of the browser utility, copy the XPath in order to get the XPath of the element. It is absolute location of the element. From the beginning of the web page, HTML, till end of the child element, if you say complete route to the Selenium about the element, it is called absolute XPath, full XPath. As it is system generated value, as it is a software generated value, 100% perfectly Selenium can identify the element, no doubt about it. Driver dot, find the element, by the XPath, full XPath, absolute XPath, then perform a click action. We are asking Selenium, go to HTML element in the page, from there move on to HTML body, from there move on to division 10, inside the division 10 move on to division 3, complete root of the element we are giving. Let us run this code. It's identifying the home and kitchen. So like this, we can use absolute location of the element. If element do not have a properties or existing properties not helping to determine the element. Alternatively, we can go for the location of the element. We can use either full path or a partial path. Here I use absolute X path to recognize the element. Now, then I want to click on this electronics. I'm spying the properties of the element electronics. Here also same. I'm copying the full X path. This is the full X path of the element. This is the full X path of the element. Rather than asking Selenium, start locating the element from the beginning of the page, I can ask Selenium, start searching for the element from somewhere in the page, not from very beginning of the page. You know, partial X path begins with 2 forward slashes. Rather than locating the element from the beginning of the page HTML, I'm asking Selenium, start locating the element from the HTML body section. Leave the very first part. Only for leaving one element, we don't need to go for this. We can go with absolute X path itself. What is the meaning of the instruction to Selenium now? Directly go to division 10 in the current page. From there, start locating the element. It is called partial X path, some part of the X path. Still we can reduce something. Directly go to division 3, from there start locating the element. This is partial X path. Unclick it. At first, we are making Selenium to find the element based on the absolute location, that home and kitchen. Immediately, I find out the element based on the partial location, that electronics. Clearly observe home and kitchen. What happened? Sorry. What is the mistake I made? I used partial link text. It's wrong. Partial. XPath I have to use. In XPath we have to use partial location of the element. By the XPath, the partial location of the element. First home and kitchen, still the page loading, then electronics. First home and kitchen, then electronic. Did you observe that? First it is clicking home and kitchen, then it is immediately identifying the electronics. So here I use the partial location of the element. Still, is there any chance to reduce? Try to reduce. Like a short URL concept. Generally after writing the programs, at least 1 or 2 times we run the code and confirm our code is correct or not. First time definitely your code may have some mistakes. At least 1 or 2 times you run our script to confirm, yes, my code is correct to validate this functionality. It's enough. Still also you can reduce. Try to reduce. Maybe I'm guessing maybe this is enough. No guarantee, no guarantee. After running the code only I can able to confirm, yes, this can identify the element. If I'm getting an exception, again I'll go with the previous value. Yes. So this is called partial XPath, some part of the location. Till now it's clear? How to confirm my partial XPath is enough to identify the element or not without running the code. Not only this partial XPath, any XPath expression we can confirm, then we can use in our code. See, I'm guessing and I'm giving the values, I'm executing. Changing the value, again I'm executing for the confirmation sake. Instead, at browser level, Chrome browser level, Firefox browser level, we have a free add-on available to confirm the XPath expression before you using the code. Try XPath, CrowPath kind of add-ons. Okay, I'll explain. First, this program I use full XPath and also partial XPath. Before I proceed, I'm showing you the properties of some other element here. This element. This element has an ID property. This element has an ID property. I'm trying to generate the XPath of the element. I'm trying to generate the XPath expression or XPath value of this element. Here I'm copying it. Tell me what happened. What happened?
Actually, he takes only whatever because in this section the ID is present. So Selenium consider that this much is enough, and so he take only ID and the value of the input.
We are trying to, whatever he said is right. If you are trying to generate the XPath expression of an element, and the element has an ID, as ID is the best property to recognize an element, automatically XPath expression generated using the ID property. 2 / star inside the square brackets @ property name ID equal to property value. If you are trying to generate a XPath expression for an element that has an ID, automatically XPath will be generated using the ID property because ID is the best property to find out the element. If you try to generate a XPath expression for other element that do not have an ID, then only location will be generated. Understand the point? As it is a software, first it is scanning is the ID available. If ID available, XPath will be created using ID. If ID not available, then only the location will be generated. That is how that software utility was designed. Because if the ID available, Not location ID is the best property. Hence, software is automatically generating the XPath expression using the ID. Got it? Now, for any browser's procedure is same. Will the properties of the element will vary from browser to browser? Will properties of the element will vary from browser to browser? That is my question. Never. Browser translating the PHP code or .NET code or Java code into HTML, browser will not change any existing properties. Properties of the element will never change from browser to browser. Right. Okay, in my system already this TryXpath was installed. Anyone online team member, share your screen. I'll teach you how to install the add-on TryXpath, then I'll explain what it is. Any online team member, share your screen who has Firefox on your machine. In my machine, TryXpath already installed. I can uninstall, I can demonstrate. Still, open the Firefox browser. Right. It's Firefox, right?
Yes, sir. Firefox.
Then go to Firefox settings on the right side. Close this. These are settings. 1 second. No. Close this window. That's what. Go to settings again. Okay, Firefox menu option. One moment. It's a Firefox menu option. On the middle somewhere you have an option, add-ons and themes. Did you click that? No. You click on add-ons and themes?
Sir, at the left side extend.
Right. These are add-ons and themes. See here, Mozilla Firefox has a marketplace. There are many plugins available for the Firefox. Any Mozilla Firefox plugin you can install from here. What is the plugin we wanted now? TryXpath is a plugin, free plugin for Firefox. Install it, TryXpath. No, you have to type. There are hundreds of add-ons are available. We need only one add-on, that is TryXpath. TRY XPath. TryXpath is a free add-on for Firefox browser. See what it is. Install it. No, install it. You click to install. So you click on TryXpath link. Here in the bottom.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you click here. Add to Firefox. We are adding a plugin to the Firefox. Add. Allow the extension. Yes. Click OK. Done. Now you see on the right, you got the plugin TryXpath. A simple add-on here. What actually it is. Stop screen sharing. I'll explain how to use it. First, you take some short notes about it. TryXpath. TryXpath. What is this TryXpath? It is a free add-on for Firefox browser. It is a free add-on for Firefox browser. It is a free add-on for Firefox browser. Used to determine the element. Used to determine the element or elements matching the given XPath expression, matching the given XPath expression at UI level, at application level, not at code level, not in Selenium code, at UI level. That is on the window, on the Firefox window. Look at this one. Okay, first I'll go with this. Whatever the examples I have demonstrated. I want to make Selenium to click on this about us. I'm spying the properties of this element. Previously, what are the properties we have used to identify this element? SRCR, H reference. Because there is no ID, there is no name, I decided let us go with the SRC property. Maybe there is a chance some other element also may have same SRC, say. I'm thinking that SRC property is enough to identify this element, but no guarantee. There is a chance some other element also has same SRC property. Before I use this SRC property in my code to identify the element, better first I'll confirm then I use it. I'm copying the SRC property value. I want to use the SRC property value to identify the element. Two forward slashes, star or tag name. What is the tag name here?
IMG.
Yes, sir.
IMG at the rate SRC equal to the SRC property value, this. In the try XPath, I have an expression. You can type your XPath expression here. I'm clicking on this execute. You tell me what happened?
Count one.
There's one element matching this XPath expression in the entire page. That element will be highlighted. So now it is a confirmation from me, yes, because I'm trying to write the code to click on about us. This XPath expression I can 100% I can use it to identify the element in my code. After I create a XPath expression, first I confirm, then I use in my code. Understand the point? If I directly use in my code, if these properties are not supporting to find out the element, I'll get an exception, no such element exception. Or some other element matching the properties, the first element will be recognized. So whenever you create some XPath expression, I recommend first confirm using the plugins like Try XPath in Firefox, ChromePath in Chrome browser, then use in your code. Similarly, I'm showing you the properties of some other element. Oh, this ID available, leave it. Okay. Here, I want to use H reference property to identify the element. What is H reference property? Home.aspx. Two forward slashes, star or tag name IMG at the rate H reference equal to, what is the value? Home.aspx. ASPX. Before I use in my code, if my requirement is really I want to make Selenium to click on the home, instead of directly writing the code, first I confirm, then I use in my code. I invoke try export. I given that export expression here. Click execute. 1, count is 1. This is the element. So 100% I can use in my code, in my Selenium code to make Selenium to identify this element. Hope you are getting what I am saying here. You understood try export, right? Once you created some export expression, before you use in your code, first confirm, then use in the code. For the confirmation's sake, we have some plugins available for Firefox and Chrome. Similarly, the previous example, snapdeal.com, home and kitchen. Or this electronics, whatever. Okay, it is Firefox browser, right? We don't have full export, only one option export. This is a full export, absolute export. It is partial export. I thought let us reduce something. Better before you use in the code, because it is not system generated value, you modified it. This partial export, I would like to confirm then use in my code. I'm giving here. One element, the element was highlighted. Still, is there any chance to reduce try? Yes, this also I can use. One element, this element is getting identified. One element, this element. So now, I can use this partial export in my code because perfectly Selenium can identify the electronics element. Like this, you can make use of this try export. Similarly, in this Facebook application, previously we used export function starts with here. This ID property. We have observed ID property value dynamically changing. Beginning value is constant, remaining value dynamically changing. I copied this ID. Previously we have observed already u underscore 0 underscore 2 is constant, remaining value dynamically changing. I want to build an export expression using start with function to identify this element. This is the export expression. Yes. Now, no guarantee this will perfectly identify the element because I thought, okay, let us go with this. Before I use in my code, I recommend first you confirm, then use in the code. I'm invoking the try export. I click on execute. It is saying one element matching with this XPath expression. The element was highlighted. So perfectly I use in my code now. Hope you are understanding what is the purpose of this try XPath. So any XPath expression you build, before you use in the code, better first you confirm at application level, browser window level using try XPath in Firefox, ChromePath in Chrome browser, then use in the code. This is my suggestion. If I directly use in the code, if identified, well and good. Not identified, it will throw an exception, no such element exception or something, or wrongly identify the element. Better, we are thinking maybe this is enough to identify the element. Better you confirm than use in the code. For the confirmation saying, we have some plugins available for the browsers. So TryXpath is a free plugin for Firefox to determine the element or elements matching the given XPath expression at application level. The same way we have, for Chrome browser, we have a plugin called ChromePath. Take the next one, ChromePath. Online team, confirm you understand what is TryXpath?
Yes, sir.
Any XPath expression you build, rather than straight away using in the code, first confirm then use in the code. Supposing I'm using multiple properties, no guarantee. First confirm then use in the code. Any XPath expression you can confirm. ChromePath. It is a Chrome browser extension. It is a Chrome browser extension similar to TryXpath. It's a Chrome browser extension used to determine the elements. Matching the given XPath expression. Matching the given XPath expression. Let me explain how to install this ChromePath. Somebody share your screen. Okay, type in the Google, download ChromePath. Download ChromePath. Download ChromePath. CHRO. No extension, ChromePath. Okay then. Use the first one. Right. Install it. Add to Chrome. Add the extension. Right, it is installed now. Now you do one thing. Open some application, any application. Better you have to restart the Chrome window, sorry. You install the add-on, you have to restart the Chrome browser window. You spy properties of any element. You open some application like Facebook or something, madam. Some application. Right. Spy the properties of any element. Good. Better you dog down. Yes. Now here, no. You drag this right side window to little left. Left side, you drag left. Yes, this window only. Right. Still little. Right now here, we have, after listeners, you have some double arrow icon, right? Styles, computer, layout, event, listeners, on the top of the window, on the top of the second window, right side window, is below. Yes, you click that. There are more options available. There are so many other options available. You please observe here we have crop path. If 2-3 times you use it, automatically crop path will be appear in the top menu. Select the crop path. See, can you little bigger the window? Yes. Yes, enough. You see here, the element has an ID. You please observe here the XPath expression generated using ID. 2 forward slashes input inside the square brackets @ID equal to pass. What this crop path will do, it will scan all the properties of the element, show you the properties. Say now, you open some other application or here, you don't think, madam. Here you generate that starting with XPath expression, 2 forward slashes. See, listen. Go back to the window. Right. Here we have an option type selector and press enter. There you type the, here, yes. Type the XPath expression, 2 forward slashes, star. Enough. What is meaning of star? All of the elements present in the page. Press enter. What is he saying? There are 255 elements available in this page. Star meaning everything. This is also one of the valid XPath expression. Inside the square bracket, if you give a condition, one more extra filter condition. This is also a valid XPath expression. Remove star, put A for anchor. Press enter. 47 links available in this page. You please observe, madam, you go to the application level and scroll down. It will show all the links down. There are 47 elements matching this XPath expression. So any XPath expression you created, you can type here and press enter. The element or elements matching the given XPath expression will be determined. Similar to the try XPath. Try XPath is a plugin for Firefox. ChromePath is a plugin for Chrome browser. When you use these plugins for 2-3 times, you can easily play with them. Got it? You type something like this, madam, in the same Facebook. Star. Inside the square brackets, use the function starts with. Starts hyphen with. Function open parenthesis and closing parenthesis. And better you close that closing bracket also. Closing square bracket. Here in the starts with function need 2 arguments. First argument, @ID. First argument, comma. The starting value U_0_2 something. Previous one, ID property. U_0_2. 0. Is it 0 or O? Okay then, press enter. You scroll up to the page.
Inverted comma not closed, sir.
Yes. Yes, it is identifying and highlighting. Observe here. One element matching this element. So similar to try XPath, any XPath expression we can confirm at Chrome browser window level using ChromePath, which is another free add-on for the Chrome browser. Both are same. Enough. Good. Stop screen sharing. You understand this too? Right. So finally, what is the purpose of these utilities? We have spied the properties of the element. There are no properties. I want to go with the location. Lengthy location, absolute export. I shorten the export. But as I modified it, it is not system generated value. Before I use in my code, I would like to confirm then use in the code. Or I thought title property is enough, or H reference property enough, some other property enough, I created export expression. Before you use any export expression you created in the code, confirm, then use in the code. For the confirmation sake, these extensions or plugins are available for the browsers. Try Export is a free plugin for Firefox. ChromePath is a free plugin for Chrome browser. So this is all about locators of the element in Selenium to identify the elements. Clear about it. So almost 3 sessions we learned about only locators. What are the locators available in Selenium to identify the element? ID, name, tag name, class name, link text, partial link text, export, and CSS selector. Right. We have to discuss about CSS selector. Let me explain about this. It is also similar to export, but export is very powerful than CSS selector. In my entire experience, we never use CSS selector, not a recommended one. Because whatever we can do with the CSS selector, same you can achieve with the export, but export has more flexible options than CSS selector. Initially, actually, they started with CSS selector in Selenium 1.0. Later, the export was introduced. But after introducing the export, they given more options in the export. CSS selector left it. But anyhow, let's see how to make use of CSS selector to identify the element. See, coming to CSS selectors, generally syntax will be like this. Tag name of the element inside the square brackets, the property name equal to property value. A simple syntax. See, there is a type property here, password. I want to use the type property or any other property to identify this element. Say I want to use type property, password. What is the tag name of the element? Input. Input is the tag name. What is the property name? Type equal to property value. Password. Remember, it is case sensitive. I copied it. Using the try-x path or crow path, you can also confirm this one also. The name try-x path, you can also confirm your CSS selector before you use in the code. The X path of any type. Here I have an option, nothing but CSS query selector. One element matching the CSS selector, this element. CSS selector has a very limited option. XPath has all of the options. Tag name, property name equal to property value is the syntax. I want to enter some data here. Launch the Facebook. Driver dot. Find the element by the CSS selector. This is a CSS selector value. Enter some data. Enter some data. Demo. Centering. So using CSS selector also, you can make Selenium to identify the element, but truly not required. You go with the XPath I recommend. The first I said Selenium 1.0, Selenium RC, old tool. Today, 10 years back it is Selenium RC. Today we are using WebDriver. Selenium 2.0 onwards, it is called WebDriver. Today we have 4th version. Selenium 1.0, we don't have XPath, in powerful XPath. That time we used to go for CSS selector. Later XPath is introduced. More features are added into XPath. Generally, a new feature is introduced. Old feature will not be removed. Because the old script will not work in the current environment if we remove the old features in the software. Still the CSS selector kept like that. Now, at the time of explaining this, tag name, I said, if the tag name is class name. If the class name is a compound value, we cannot use it. You remember the point? If the class name property is a compound value, we should not use it. Listen. There is some element in the page. This element class property ABC XYZ, you can use it. If the class property value is ABC XYZ, you cannot use it. Because second one is a compound value. What do you mean by compound value? There is a white space between. If the class property is a single word we can use to identify the element, compound values are not permitted in the class name. This you have to remember. Let me show you this. Okay, see here. There's a class property available here. I cannot use this class property to find out the element. Why? There are some white spaces here. Let us try to use this class property and see what happens. There are some white spaces here. Let's run this code. It is not finding the element. Invalid selector. Please observe the error description. Compound class names not permitted. Compound values are not permitted. Only remember, it is applicable only for the class name, not for remaining name property or ID property. This condition applicable only for the class name. In some other application, I can use class property. Previously in RNHRM login also I used class property. Hope you remember. Class name button. Username, password, class name value, I have used button. Button is a single word, not a compound value. I used it. No, we cannot use it. There's a white space here. No, I cannot use it. There's a white space here. No, there's a white space here after the button. Let us try to use this. There's some white space here. In the class, I don't have a white space here. Booking.com. Divide out, find the element by the class name, then click it. What is this? No, it identified or not? For which element we used it? It's a button. Find deal something. we have to write the code to close it first. It's automatically it is generating some window. Whether it is a new window or a alert or same page, let me check. Okay, here I will use class property. Single word. It's not any alert or it's not any new window. It is available in the same page. This time it's not coming. Or else it is closed. Just a second. If it is not coming, it should throw an exception, no such element. Yes, yes. We'll run it again. Because that window sometimes coming, sometimes not coming. If appeared, then only close. Right, that we have to write the code. The currency, selection, whatever. It's not coming, you'll get an exception, no such element exception. See, previously we used it. Class property button, it is identifying because it is not a compound value. Make a small note of it. First you take about this CSS selector. Take somebody, CSS selector. CSS selector. It is another predefined locator. It is another predefined locator can be used to identify the elements. Can be used to identify elements. Can be used to identify elements. Note on the syntax. The syntax, an example here. Tag name inside the square brackets. Property name equal to property value, no @ symbol. No @ symbol here. Property name equal to property value. Note on this example also. Input type property equal to password. Okay. Take some note about the class property what I have explained. Using class name. using class name. Better you note on this diagram. If the class name value is ABC XYZ, no white spaces, we can use it. Make a note. Compound values are not permitted. Compound values are not permitted in the class name. Compound values are not permitted in the class name. The compound values are not permitted in the class name. If I use compound values in the class name, we get an exception. It's not permitted. We can use ABC XYZ, but we cannot use ABC space XYZ because compound values are not permitted. Right. So this is all about the locators related information to you about the right. Venkat, see there's some noise coming. See here now. So as of now in the Selenium what we have learned, first in the Selenium, not in Java, how to work with the browsers, how to automate the browser operations. Then we have discussed about various locators available in the Selenium to identify the element, find elements, how to make Selenium to identify the elements present in a page, what are the locators available. And we have discussed about the XPath, all possible options with the XPath. Hope till this point is right. Browser automation, how to invoke the browsers, how to delete the cookies, how to close the browser window, how to capture the title of the window, how to capture the URL of the window. Some browser related navigations we learn. Then Selenium provide a method called find elements to identify the elements present in a page. Find element returns a single web element. Find elements returns a list of web elements. In order to find an element or element, Selenium needs some properties of the element called locators of the element. There are 8 locators available in the Selenium to find out the element: ID, name, tag name, class name, link text, partial link text, XPath and CSS selector. 90% an element will have either ID or name. If the element do not have an ID or name, then only we have to look into other properties of the element. To use any property of the element in XPath, including ID and name, there is a syntax given called 2/, either star or tag name inside the square brackets @ property name equal to property value. Any property of the element we can use in XPath. Multiple properties also we can use in XPath. Also, XPath provided 2 functions, starts with, contains, to identify the element whose property values are dynamically changing. If an element beginning value is always constant, remaining value dynamically changing, we use starts with function. Somewhere some value is constant, remaining value dynamically changing, we use contains function. If no property is helping to find out the element, alternatively we can also go for the location of the element, either absolute location or some part of the location. If I give the location of the element from the very beginning of the web page, HTML, till end of the child element, it is called absolute XPath. If you give the location from somewhere in the page till end of the element, then it is called partial XPath. Once you created an XPath expression or CSS query, better you confirm than use in the code. In order to confirm the element or elements matching the given XPath expression in the browser window level, application level, before I use in my code, we have some add-ons are available for Firefox and Chrome. Try XPath is a free add-on for the Firefox browser used to determine the element or the elements matching the given XPath expression. ChromePath is a free extension for Chrome browser to do the same. CSS selector available? No use, not much use, because whatever we can do with the CSS selector, same we can also achieve with the XPath. but XPath has more flexible options. In CSS selector, we don't have starts with contains kind of functions. And here, class name. If the class name property value is a single word, I can use it. If the class name is a compound value, compound values are not permitted to use in the code because it will throw an exception. Compound values are not permitted. Right. Now from here, I will dive in this way. WebDriver operations we have learned. WebDriver class. What is the purpose of the WebDriver class? It is a superclass of one of the superclass available in the Selenium. Chrome driver, Firefox driver, Safari driver, Internet Explorer driver, Opera driver are the child classes. These classes has only browser specific function. WebDriver is a superclass that contains all common operations. Similarly, any web page you consider, any web application you take, you see some elements. Tell me what are the various commonly seen elements in any HTML page or any web page? Generally, what are the commonly seen elements in any web application? Text boxes, buttons, links, checkboxes, radio buttons, images, tables, calendars. These are commonly seen elements, correct? In all these elements, there are some common operations. Tell me some. Text box is one type of element. Drop-down list is another type of element. Calendar, another type of element. Image, another type of element. Link, another type of element. Radio button, checkboxes. In all these elements, there are some commonly performed operations. Tell me one or two. Click. On any element, you can perform a click action. You can click a checkbox. You can click a radio button. You can click on a drop-down list. In fact, you can click on a button. You click a link. You click a image. You click any other element. Like, not only click. There are some other. An element has some text. I want to read it. One element will have multiple properties. If I want to see the properties of the element while designing a script at browser level, I use inspect element. If I want to make Selenium to capture any property of the element, there is a method called getAttribute. Like WebDriver, there is another superclass available in the Selenium called WebElement. WebElement. It has some common function. These common functions you can apply on any element present in the page. It may be a text box, it may be a button, it can be an image, it can be a link, etc. Let me show you this. In the Selenium, what is that main package? org.openqa.selenium. In the main package org.openqa.selenium, WebDriver, one of the superclass, it has only commonly operated functionalities on any browser. Like the WebDriver class, what is this? Web element. In fact, we are using this web element class as a reference type. Commonly performed operations on any web element. I want to click a web element. Element can be anything. If any data available in an element, I want to clear it. I want to check an element is displayed or not, available in the page or not. I want to check the checkbox, radio button is enabled or not. I want to read the text belongs to an element, get text. I want to capture any property of any web element, get attribute. I want to enter some data on an element, send case. I want to perform enter operation on an element, submit. All these are the common operations we can use for any web element. It can be a text box, it can be a button, it can be an image, it can be a link, etc. From tomorrow, we'll talk about these all web element operations one by one. Take some short notes about it first. Working with web elements. Working with web elements working with web elements. You understand the topic? What do you mean by web elements here? Maybe a text box or a button or an image or a link, anything will be considered as a element. Take some short notes. Selenium provided web element class, web element, a superclass, web element, a superclass. This class provided all commonly performed operations on any web element. Commonly performed operations on any web element. The commonly performed operation on any web element. See, web element is a superclass. It provided a set of predefined functions which are used to automate commonly performed action on any web element, like send keys, one of the commonly performed operation. Clear, another commonly performed operation. If any data available, I want to remove it. Click, another commonly performed operation. Is displayed. I want to check a button displayed in the page or not. This image is present in the page or not. This link is present in the page or not. Is displayed, true or false. If available, true. If not available, false. Is selected. I want to check a checkbox is already selected or not. A radio button is already selected or not. We can use a method called is selected. Get text. I want to read the text to displayed on any web element. We have a method called get text. To capture any property of an element, there is a method called get attribute. List out these. Tomorrow and day after tomorrow we'll discuss about all these commonly carried out operations on any web element. WebDriver provided some function. Web element provided some function which are used to perform common operations on any element present in a page. It may be a text box, it may be a button, it may be an image, it may be a link, it may be a radio button, it may be a checkbox. We perform some common operation. All these common operations later function present inside the web element class. So one by one we'll discuss. See here, send keys already we know, click already we know, I no need to explain. But anyhow, we'll see all these with different examples from tomorrow. Okay. So I stop here today. We'll continue tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, online team. We'll continue tomorrow.